Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 3-0-Take, where we talk all things Major League Baseball. Here's Kyle Corwin and Nate Reyes. It all starts right now.
Ooh, welcome back to the 3-0-Take, presented by SeatGeek. This is episode 380. I'll be your host, Kyle Corwin. I'm here with my co-host, Nate Reyes. Nate, buying or selling?
I'm buying today. We're going to rock the boat a little bit. Crazy. I'm buying on a Thursday.
That's great, because I'm selling today. What do you got?
Are you? Let's go. I'm buying the walk-off home run sprint around the bases. I freaking love it, dude. It's electric. Christopher Morel was the one that just like got me feeling that way. We saw Bryce Harper do it before. You remember the one back in the day, like Spielborgs did it. Ryan Spielborgs for the Rockies, and like his stuff's breaking off of him. There's just something about like getting back to the boys at home. You know what I mean? The slow trot. I feel like the boys at home are just like they're losing it a little bit,
Losing steam a little bit.
Yeah, like the sprint around. I don't know what it is, man. It's just fires me up. So I'm buying the quick jog on walk-off dingers.
I mean, that's the reality of it. If you go at like a medium pace, they're going to maintain their energy. If you take your sweet time, you're going to kill the vibes. But if you sprint, you can only amplify it. And I think we saw that play out perfectly. But yeah, you mentioned the Bryce Harper one. That's the one I immediately thought of too.
Yeah.
Because my man was
cooking,
beating feet around the bases. Loved it.
Big fan of that. You're selling today.
I'm selling, dude. I know it's August 17th, and it's probably a little late in the season to still be talking about the pitch clock, but went to yet another game last night. And not even addressing the in-game experience, like once you're there. It's just for the people, which are the majority of us, that aren't able to get there like an hour early. Mm-hmm. So Meredith and I went to the Nats game last night. They're playing the Red Sox, and game started at 7:05. We left at, I think we left like right around 6, because it takes a minute to make your way through
park, get to the
DC traffic. Park, make the walk. Because we're not trying to park like right next to the field, because that parking's like $50-$60. And sorry, maybe some of you folks out there are made of money. We're not necessarily. So, we got to find the bargain lots. So it takes a minute to get there. We were 20 minutes late. So we got there at 7, not even 20 minutes. We got there at 7:23. We walked through, we scanned our tickets, got into the, like on the concourse, looked at the phone. It said 7:23. Meredith was like, how late are we? And I was like, not even 20 minutes. It's 7:23. I look up at the scoreboard. It was in the 3rd inning. Dude. It had been 18 minutes. 18 minutes, and we were already in the 3rd inning. Like, come on, man. And
dude,
I know people are going,
I was talking about.
Time.
This is what I was talking about when they came out with this stuff. Because, like, you think of the major cities, like East Coast cities, DC, New York, Boston. Getting out of work and getting to the game on time is never going to happen. It's never going to happen. So, like, why not push the time back? Because all these start times are pretty much copy and paste. Push them back, allow people like you to get there, and the game will still end like it normally did, but it's happening faster. It's too bad. You guys are sitting pretty high up, too.
It was actually really cool. We had never sat in that part of the ballpark before. We were sitting up in front of the press box. So like the press box was like right on top of us, which was really cool. And I don't know if you saw the video I posted to the story, but there's like this crew up there. I don't know if they're like season ticket holders. I would imagine they are.
Yeah.
But every time they hit a home run, like after the guy crosses home plate, they do like NATS, Nats, woo. And they do this like woo thing at the end. Mm-hmm. And they do that for every run that scored. So like if they scored 3 runs, they do it 3 times. Okay. And the guy was sitting like right next to us. And I've been to countless Nats games, and they do it all the time. But
it's only that section up there?
Well, they do it for the whole ballpark. So like everybody in the ballpark is looking up at
like
this section.
Like the right field bleacher creatures in Yankee Stadium kind of thing.
Right. Yeah. So like everybody's looking up at you, waiting for this one guy led the charge. He like had his hat up and he was like waiting for the time to drop it. And the second he dropped it, they all like the whole stadium just erupts into this chant. It's pretty cool.
I don't know how I feel about them swooping the Jets. That's a Jets thing. Jets,
Yeah.
Jets. They always do it after the kickoff, but yeah, it ain't bad. It ain't bad. You try to build a culture. You gotta do what you gotta do. Nationals.
I mean, they've been hanging on to the natitude phrase for like ever. I don't think that's ever going away.
Do you? When did you get the tickets?
The day before. So
all right,
Tuesday.
What it was on a whim. Like you were like, yeah, let's go.
Well, I knew they were coming into town, but it was during the week, and for whatever reason, the last couple times I've been in, it's been on a weekend. Mm-hmm. So I was like, that's just gonna be tough. Like we got family coming in this weekend too. So I was like, maybe not. And I told Meredith, I was like, honestly, I've been in such a like post breakup phase with this team this year. Like I would be okay. Like I wouldn't be upset if we weren't able to make it. I'll be more than glad to just, if you just give me the couple hours to watch it on the TV, like I'll be perfectly fine. But we ended up going, and coincidentally, because of the way this offseason went, the way this year has gone, the way I felt about them throughout the course of the season, the first Red Sox loss I've witnessed in nearly a decade. And I said, this comes as no surprise to me because I mean, what are we really doing here?
If they were doing better, do you think you would have bought better seats? Like lower seats?
No. A game like that, especially because we've sat just about everywhere in that ballpark.
Doesn't matter.
At this point, I'm just going for like what the cheapest tickets are.
Yeah.
Use the promo code. Shout out SeatGeek. Shout out SeatGeek. Money going right back into the pocket. No, that was pretty cool. Hooked it up. But yeah, all that to say, selling the just insanely fast in-person experience as a fan.
Yeah,
especially getting going there.
It's all right. And just keep shoving it down our throats of how much better the ticket sales are. Whatever. Let's talk Dodgers. We got some items to get into. One actually maybe a little more touchy than the rest, but before we get into that, let's open up with the Dodgers 10-game winning streak entering Thursday. One of the hottest teams, if not the hottest team in baseball. 14-1 in the month of August. They've won 14 of the last 15. That streak, that period includes 2 sweeps and 5 consecutive series victories. They're in first place in the West. Do you know how many games ahead of the Giants they are? Who are in second place? I feel like it's really taken off in these last couple weeks.
I mean, what happened, dude? Like we blinked and the Dodgers are back to the Dodger way.
If I was to guess, because I'm not looking, I'm looking at stats. I would say 7.5.
10 games.
What?
10 games.
What? It was like 4, 3 weeks ago.
The Diamondbacks were leading the division like yesterday, and now the Dodgers are like, hey, enjoy the couch in October because we've got this. Just insane. A blink of an eye, and they are 10 games up. Although the Giants are up a game and a half in the wild card, so I don't think they're hurting too much. But yeah, dude, the Dodgers. We spent all this time this year talking about, well, the Dodgers have punted. They're just going to roll with what they got. And somehow what they have has them 10 games up in the division. And I think a lot of it is credited towards the point that you bring up a lot of times where guys seemingly go there. They go to LA and things just click. I don't know if it's the development. I don't know if it's the coaching staff they have there. I'm sure they only really know inside those clubhouse doors, like what the true secret is. I think we're really just speculating, but it's something. It's something in that organization that helps guys just figure it out. Because I found this graphic that I wanted to share with you and the listeners. Shout out Gonsolin RBW on Twitter. He had put this little graphic together, showing the differences between previous tenures from like 2022 or even like the team that the specific player came from. JD Martinez, let's enlarge this a little bit. JD Martinez last year, 16 homers and 533 at bats. This year, 25 homers and 345 at bats. Jason Hayward, a guy that you've alluded to from time to time about his improvements, 555 OPS last year and 137 at bats with the Cubs. 808 OPS and 228 at bats this year. David Peralta, 652 OPS and 161 ABs, 727 OPS and 292 ABs. Kike Hernandez, 599 OPS with the Sox and 297 ABs, 805 OPS through 60 at-bats this year.
Yeah.
Ahmed Rosario, 3 home. It took him 385 at-bats to get 3 home runs with the Guardians. It only took him 51 at-bats to get 3 home runs with the Dodgers. Lance Lynn, the recent trade acquisition, 6.47 ERA and a strikeout to walk ratio of 3.2. He has a 2 ERA and a 5.5 strikeout to walk ratio. Ryan Brazier, 7.29 ERA with the Red Sox. Opponents were hitting 286 off of him. He currently sports a 1.16 ERA. Opponents are hitting 1.33. Joe Kelly, 4.97 ERA. An average opponents are hitting 2.28 or were hitting 2.28. As of right now, sporting a 0 ERA with the Dodgers. Opponents are hitting 0.091 off of him. And lastly, Ryan Yarbrough with the Royals, a 4.24 ERA and a whip of 1.20. Currently sporting an ERA of 1.74 and a whip of 0.48.
Dang. All right. I see what you're doing. I see what you're doing, LA.
I don't. Like I physically see it, but I can't comprehend it because a lot of guys on this list should not be having the years that they're having.
Sure.
And we got to figure out what that secret sauce is. So maybe, just maybe, like if there's some Dodger fans out there that know the secret sauce, like they've been glued to this team's season this year, let us know because I'm curious. Because I'm not able to watch 162 games of Dodger baseball, but there's got to be something there that's putting these numbers to the level that they're at.
Here's my thought. When I go golf and I play with someone that is worse than me, I typically play down. If I play with someone that's better than me, I'll play up and try and like meet what they're doing. Do my best to keep up, right? There's something said about having veterans that have been there. Not just veterans, but like first ballot Hall of Famers that have won. And they know what it takes. And when you show up to the ballpark as a role player, young or not, and you're looking at those guys and they're putting in just as much work, if not more, and they've done it before, you got to like play up to that, right? You got to be like, all right, well then I got to match this guy. And it's crazy because like I'm not saying that's the copy and paste model everyone should have. We've seen that not work before. And we've seen young teams have success before. Like, the Braves are new to this era for the most part with all their guys. It's just like you see a work ethic in somebody, and it's multiple somebodies between Kershaw and Mookie and Freddie. Like, you got to be that way. It's weird that you have the big bright LA lights, but in reality, like, you're still chilling in perfect weather in California. So it's like this laid back, I'm happy. It's hard to be pissed because of where I am. That's the way I see it. That's what I'm seeing. Because it's ridiculous how they can roll this out over and over again, and they just get guys to show up. It kind of reminds me of like the Patriots' dominance. Everyone laughs about like how Bill Belichick would just find guys, bagging groceries. Next thing you know, he's catching TDs. It's kind of like that. It's like this winning culture. And especially when you got dudes like that are, look at Mookie running his podcast, dude. Wearing shades. Cooking meals on the road in his hotel room. In his little kit. Like, they're all just happy. They're settled. Like, I don't know, man. It's just wild what that can do for a team. Vibes are high. Vibes are high, especially when you see Kike, dude. Like, you guys have been living on rock bottom for most of the year. Only way to go is up.
Yeah,
comes over, New Jersey number. Let's go.
I think Kike probably benefited most from donning the Dodger blue this season in comparison to some of these other guys, because my man was struggling and getting back to somewhere familiar, getting back to a place that people are going to love you regardless, for the most part, how poorly or how well you perform. You're just a fan favorite there. I think there's a lot to be said for that.
Like, imagine the vets not having to be the dudes. Imagine those vets. All the ones we just listed off. Lance Lynn doesn't need to be an ace. Jason Hayward doesn't need to be hitting 3-hole with 40 bombs a year. Kike doesn't need to be, playing every day and leading off every day. Like, when you have guys that just buy in and they're like, hey, one goal, I'll do whatever I need to do. I'll let Mookie, I'll let Freddie, I'll let Kersh be the absolute freak shows. I'll just do my job. I can imagine I'm so jealous. I'm just so jealous.
I think the Dodgers just happen to coincidentally be the perfect landing spot for just about every guy on this list. And it could be for a variety of different reasons, but everybody's career at this juncture, 2023, for whatever reason, this seemed to be the place that these particular guys needed. And I'm JD, for whatever reason, Kike, guys like that, Lance Lynn, they just needed to be there.
Yeah.
Whether it's the coaches there, like I said, the coaches there working with the development process that they have out there. I don't know what it is. The medical team for some of these guys.
Right.
I
got a question about that. I at what point are we just gonna say that Kershaw's is load management? Like, at what point are we just gonna say that? All these little like random IL stints throughout the year, he's not a 35 start a year guy anymore. And that's totally fine. If you make 20 starts and they're all dope and they're all quality Kershaw stuff, like, I'd be happy with that. Sure. But like, why do we have to disguise it with these fake injuries? I think this is the only sport that we see like mystery injuries, and they're almost predictable. You see like a guy struggling and they're like, should they DFA him? Well, they're either going to do that or he's going to get hurt and he's going to be on the IL for 60 days.
Yeah, but I mean, look at the blowback that like the NBA gets with being so open about
Load management, for sure.
Like,
but, I mean, it's a different thing because you have like different rosters. But I don't know. Like for certain guys, I'm not saying every team should be doing it. And for most teams, like they don't have the depth for starters like that to skip starts. But like even with what we're seeing with Ohtani, like at least they're open about it. Like we're just skipping a start. Cool. Like you just need a little break. Kershaw's old, man.
Yeah.
A lot of bullets coming out of that over the years. So it's like, who cares? Give him a break. Let him do what he needs to do during the regular season, and then just watch him dominate in the postseason. I don't know. I don't want to hide it anymore. I hope so.
Yeah,
I like. How do you root against Kersh? Yeah, I think you're a weirdo if you do.
If you're a Padres fan, you want to talk about weirdos, man. Some of those Padres, not all. Some of those Padres fans out there, a little. No, you know what?
Don't ruin it. Don't ruin it.
I don't need it. We're not going down that road. We're not going down that road. Speaking of another road, don't really want to go down, but kind of have to. Because of some recent developments, the Wander Franco, the latest on that situation. According to an article from Bleacher Report, a source familiar with the situation told MLB insider Hector Gomez, quote, "It will be very unlikely that Wander Franco will play in Major League Baseball again, judging by the results of the investigations that are currently being carried out, which directly commit him to the accusations against him," end quote. If I recall, the news came out while we were recording, but I don't think we were able to mention it. But the news that he was added to the restricted list on Monday, has not appeared in a game since Saturday. And then it was reported, what's today? Thursday. It was reported yesterday that a prosecutor in the DR that said that Franco is being investigated, is subject of an investigation conducted by the National Agency for Boys, Girls, Adolescents, and Family and Gender Violence Unit. I'm going to say right now, I have not the first clue as to what that organization really does beyond their namesake. Like, I don't know how serious something has to be for them to get involved, but I would venture to say probably pretty serious. Like if you have unit at the end of your name, I don't think these are the people that are hanging out by the water coolers each day.
Yeah.
I think these are the types of folks that are getting involved in a situation that has reason to believe that there's some legitimacy to the allegations. Just my guess.
I would concur.
Do we think, or do you think, collectively here, do you and I think that we've seen the end of Wander Franco?
Yeah. Yeah. I think so. What a waste of a talent. And I don't know. I mean, like we're on the outside and there's only so much we're going to learn about this situation. I don't. It's so disgusting. You know what I mean?
I don't want to get into this is obviously a very touchy situation, and I want to make sure I choose my words carefully here. But I don't want to get into a scenario where we're trying to assign, for lack of a better way of saying it, assigning worseness to a situation.
A level of severity.
But you look at what's happened with Trevor Bauer. We haven't heard anything about Trevor Bauer in months at this point. And look what happened with the legal fallout of that. What was the result of that?
Right.
If
That was apparently not guilty.
Correct. If this ends up coming out that the allegations were true, there was evidence that was presented to prove as such, there's no way that you can sit there and tell me that Wander Franco will not be blackballed from baseball.
Yeah.
And I say blackball not as though like
unrightfully so.
Correct.
Yeah.
But just altogether shunned from the sport.
Yeah. When you touch on like level of severity, if we're still shunning Pete Rose and we somehow accept Wander Franco back, what are we doing? You know what I mean? Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, I mean, you see it in the NFL all the time. You got guys that are like beating women who receive less severe suspensions for people that fail drug tests. I'm not trying to like ricochet the NFL here, but just sports as a whole, like with the Pete Rose thing, I just feel like our priorities are way out of whack here. And I would like to think, the optimist in me would like to think that Major League Baseball, Rob Manfred, as much as we drag him at times, it recognizes that. Mm-hmm. It says we have to get serious about this. Like, we have to start prioritizing these things. If they come out to be true, if everything plays out in court or whatever the legal ramifications are.
Yeah. But it's obvious that MLB doesn't need to listen to that. Like, they don't have to follow legal.
No, of course not.
Stuff. I mean, they can just make the decision, which I think and I think that's why, like, it doesn't even matter if he's guilty or not guilty. Like, I just think it's done. I think MLB is going to be done with him. And I don't know, man. Like, I got to assume that you're going to have teammates that have daughters. You walk into the clubhouse and you're like, I'm sick to my stomach. Like, I can't imagine being in the same room, if he is guilty. So I think it's all done. And it's just on the baseball side of things, like it's a big loss, like this is, I mean, he's such an incredible talent, and like, we hate on the Rays all the time for obvious reasons, but like, if there was ever an organization that could use a young talent that they get right away and they sign long-term, they did everything the right way. Like, the Rays did it exactly how they should have done it. Get a young talent, you sign him early, and you let him develop. And, we're talking about an all-star. We're talking about a Gold Glover. It's not like this is a 7, 8, 9 guy in the order that's playing 3 times a week. This is a perennial all-star type caliber player. So it's a tremendous loss for the Rays. It's a big loss for baseball. And that's not even talking about like the morality side of things. The morality is just, it's pretty sickening. So it's tough, man. And you talk, like, I know a lot of our listeners, a lot of our guys in the fantasy league, do collectibles, and they trade, trading cards and signed baseballs and stuff, and they're big into memorabilia, like that too, like the amount of people that got screwed over with that, having some signed rookie card that, they either turned over or dropped a couple coins on. It's like, it's pretty sad, man. But this is a reminder that, like, we gotta do our best to not put these guys up on such a high pedestal above everyday citizens, like, they're not any better than us. And just everybody makes mistakes, but
they just happen to be very, very, very good at the sport that they play.
Right. And that's all it is. And like, stop saying this is a job. Like, I think if you were to ask any of those guys, they're like, yeah, it's a job, but this is an absolute privilege. This is not a right. Everyone has a right to work. Not everyone has a right to be in professional sports. So yeah, it's just different, man. So be better. Like, dude, I mean, we talked about it a couple of weeks ago with like the you know, the Sound of Freedom movie and child trafficking and just like children being victims of this stuff. And whether this girl was a victim or not, or just, you know, whatever it turns out to be, I don't think it really matters. But like, I don't even have kids. You don't have kids yet, but like, goodness, dude, like, please just protect our children. What is this world coming to, man?
Yeah, and I've seen a lot of people talking about, like, I think their intention is good, but I think there's a lack of true understanding of what somebody's life looks like who's involved in a habit or an activity such as this. And the comments that I'm referring to are the ones where people are talking about, this guy just signed a huge check, like, what more could you need? Like, how much you've got everything that you want. Like, why would you do something like this? Trust me, people, I've talked with people who have not necessarily with this particular issue, but anytime that somebody gets caught up in like a substance addiction or something like that, it doesn't matter how good their life is outside of that issue that they're wrestling with. They could be, you hear it all the time. Millionaires, billionaires, they have everything at their disposal, but they feel incredibly empty. They're searching for something. So you take a guy like Wander Franco, and I'm not justifying this by any stretch, but I'm just saying you can't exactly look at the contract that he signed and go,
be like, well, you're set.
You've got what you need. Like, no, if this comes out to be true, it's safe to assume that there's some deep-seated thing there, that it doesn't matter how much money you acquire throughout your career. Like, there's something that needs to be addressed there. There's something that needs to be fixed, and there's something that needs to be disciplined, whether that's Major League
100%.
Baseball, whether that's the law, whatever it is. But like, we can't have that. We have to be, as a society, we have to be better with stuff like this, because you just can't have this.
It's just like, please, someone put their foot down. Somebody in a powerful position, just put your foot down and stop this stuff. And it has to start at some point. So I'm out. I don't care how it ends up being, whether it's not guilty on her and guilty on other. I mean, we've heard reports that it's multiple girls. It's not just one over the last few years. So it's like,
We've also heard reports that the girl wasn't 14, that she was older. There's just still a lot up in the air. Again, this whole conversation is predicated on the initial report that she was in fact 14, 15, under 18.
Yeah, it's all that matters. If you're under 18, it's just no.
And again, we're not like, we're going to let it play out, but we're just talking about the information that we have as of right now. And we'll see what comes of it. But
have you seen the Rays? I haven't like seen anything. Have the Rays, are they starting to like pull jerseys out of their shops yet, or is any of that stuff going down yet?
That's
like, I'm curious if they're. I feel like that's going to be like our first tell. You know.
Let's go
I understand that there's procedures with investigations and things like that, but I feel like our professional sports could really benefit with some transparency towards their fans. You know,
as of right now, the Wander Franco jersey is still up on the Rays shop, but again, that's probably due to the fact that the investigation is ongoing. Like, that would if for whatever reason this comes out to be not true, that would be not equally, but like, that would just
probably
be
see a lawsuit happening.
That'd be a bad look for the Rays, kind of,
because it'll get into like defamation type stuff.
Yeah,
if it is
like, you
guilty.
as sickening as it is, the reports are, at least the allegations, like, you gotta let it play out.
Yeah, I'm watching Suits right now, by the way, so I've got all the lawyer terminology,
all the lawyer lingo,
and rolling out.
There you go. Switching gears here, can we, on somewhat of a lighter note, can we talk about this back at, well, I don't know if there was a back and forth. I don't know if Jeter responded, but this whole
They don't got time for that.
Marlins, that's actually, yeah, that's probably true. This whole Marlins home run sculpture thing that just came about, like, I don't know when this statement was made. I'm assuming it was recent because it seems like the quotes were making their way around. That's usually how that goes. But former Marlins owner Jeffrey Loria says that Derek Jeter's decision to remove the Marlins home run sculpture was, quote, a horrible thing to do. He said something about how he was destroying art and that it was just a horrible thing to do. I'm like, Jeffrey, my guy, do you have eyeballs? It doesn't take much.
I'm not even coming. This is not Jeter bias at all. That thing was ugly. Number one.
Thank you.
Number two, it didn't get destroyed. It got moved outside.
That's the other thing. It's like, if you want to see it that bad, if you want to partake in the art, then go outside.
Yeah, it's right outdoors. And I'm pretty sure, what's that little, like, the Toyota balcony thing? They've added seats. They've added tickets out there. So now you have a spot that wasn't generating any money. It was just some big, giant eyesore. Is now generating money. And that eyesore is now out of the stadium to where maybe people in that area or community or culture would appreciate it there. But I don't think anyone watching on TV is like, oh, wow, look at that. Not in a good way, anyway.
Yeah, like if you want to see the art so bad, go outside. But then it's like the whole Ron Swanson thing. He's like, I don't know why people paint pictures of trees when they can just go outside and be in nature. So, like, that's kind of what we're dealing with here. I feel like this is a topic that would be fun to read some Facebook comments on, because we all know that.
You go to Facebook, I'll go to Instagram, see if I can find anything.
Well, I was going to say, Facebook, as we all know, is very well-balanced, rational-minded people. And so something as silly as this home run sculpture was, I'm sure we're going to find some very, very reasonable comments here. Somebody said, put this back in. Jeter's gone. Move it back inside. It's tacky, gaudy, and the most Miami thing ever. It needs to be inside where it belongs in all its original glory. Look, can I be honest here? I don't think I would hate it as much in there now, given that they've gotten rid of that just god awful lime green, like, padding and the walls and all that. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, that was bad.
I think that's what made it extra worse for me. But now that they've gotten rid of that, I still hate the whatever this thing is, the sculpture. But at least it wouldn't be as much of an eyesore.
Compton J on Instagram says, unpopular opinion, I kind of like the dinger machine. Art is a loose interpretation, though.
Yeah, that's very accurate.
It looks like a collage of crap, man. Like when you're like cutting all those pictures out of magazines and posting it on a board and calling it art.
Stanford Smith on Facebook says, I'm a lifelong Braves fan, but I will admit that I like the Marlins ballpark. It has a lot. I think he means. He says it has a lot of personality. I think he means it had, because I will admit, like, they definitely, when they took the sculpture out and put up the blue padding and all that stuff, they definitely dumbed it down a little bit in terms of the vibe, I guess you could say.
I did like the aquarium in the back.
That's what I was gonna say. It says it has a lot of
that hill.
Has a lot of personality. It really seems to capture the essence of the area. Yes, I even like the sculpture. Remember, art is subjective. Yeah. And yeah, you mentioned the aquarium thing. I'm all for it. Like, we were talking about
somewhere. I don't think it has to be in the backstop, but put it somewhere. Aquarium sounds sick, dude.
Honestly, if it were me, I wouldn't put it directly behind home plate, because
we've seen cameras get busted and stuff. I don't want to see fish going.
Yeah, RIP the fish, the entire tank. No, but like that would be potentially distracting to like a guy, like if you're trying to zero in on the catcher's glove and you just see like fish just kind of floating along behind you. Like I'm gonna need relatively still.
True. That's fair.
A relatively still backdrop there. But put it on like the side, like, you know, where they have the pitch clocks.
Yeah.
Like on the side. It's not
Less
behind,
likely
but it's
to
like
get
on the
hit.
side, closer to like the sides of the dugout. Fill those spots with an aquarium.
Yeah.
I'm all about it.
Matt on Instagram said Loria sucks and ruined the Marlins. His opinion is irrelevant to any Marlins fan ever. I agree. Most people, it looks like they're in support of the move.
I don't know how you can look at Jeter and say like he ruined the organization. We've talked about this. Look at the farm. Look at where the farm was before he got there.
Exactly.
And then look at it after he left.
Here's my thing. Loria knows what he's doing. This quote doesn't blow up without Jeter's name in it. All you have to do, what if it said he came in and destroyed the ballpark? Destroying public art was a terrible thing to do, horrible thing to do. He put Jeter in there. He said Jeter for a reason. And by the way, Jeter is not the only owner. It was a group. So I'm pretty sure it was a group decision, but
Jeter
he knows
gets
what
you
he's
clicks.
doing. He gets
Jeter
clicks.
gets you clicks.
Yeah. Old Loria just trying to stay relevant. What a loser.
I don't care if he was a former owner. Who's going to remember Jeffrey Loria 30 years from now?
Nobody.
Who's going to remember Derek Jeter 30 years from now? That's my point. So
Everybody.
To your credit, it's all for clicks, all to get it blown up.
Justin Macy commented on our Instagram post. He's in the Yankees organization. I think he spent some time with the Braves too. He said that art is effing terrible. So I think that's
the other thing that nobody's really talking about. Like, sure, if you want to call it art, call it art. But
it's not like it was good looking.
We're entitled to our opinions about said art, and the opinion is that it's terrible.
Overall. Yeah, that thing is not good. Ugh.
Devil's advocate though, I get the people that are like against the cookie cutter ballparks.
For sure. That's cool.
What they have now is definitely more cookie cutter than obviously the or back when it had the sculpture and all that. But that doesn't, just because it's kind of cookie cutterish now doesn't make what it used to be okay. Or like an attractive looking ballpark, because it wasn't.
I don't think they keep that thing open enough either.
Well, trust me, this East Coast humidity is
steamy down there.
Stupid.
Yeah. Maybe if they play in October.
Disgusting.
Open that puppy up. It looks good when it's open left field.
It's a big if. Gotta get to October 1st.
Maybe next year.
A guy that's not going to be getting to October anytime soon, unless he is dealt or just quits baseball, unretires, and comes back with another team. There's any number of possible routes that he could take to get to October, but the current team he's with not getting to October anytime soon. But wanted to shed some light on Zack Gelof. Dude's been just running through a couple noteworthy performances here. Zack Gelof, the first player in A's history to have 20 extra base hits and 20 runs scored through his first 28 career games played.
All right.
You gotta be on it to rack up 20 extra base hits in 28 games.
It must seem so easy. Like you're in the minor leagues and they're like, no, don't worry. It'll be a lot quicker up there. Game's a lot faster. It's a lot harder. And you go up there and do that. Don't worry. They'll trade him for a bucket of balls here in a couple years anyway. He'll find somewhere to go. Garbage organization.
I can't. Meredith and I were quoting Moneyball yesterday because I think her favorite scene of that movie is when Billy Bean, they're in, I think it's like the break room or something. You've seen it, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
The movie?
They're like, Yeah. Like they're in the break room, and I don't remember the player that he referenced, but was it? I don't think it was Pena. Was it Pena? Where he's like, "This is my team, and I'm playing Pena tonight." And he goes, "Well, you can't because Pena plays for the Detroit Tigers."
Yeah.
Or something along to that effect. But that's probably what's going to happen. Like,
I like when Jonah Hill walks by and he's like, all he says is Pena. He flips the table, flips his desk over. That's a great movie.
Top 3 all-time baseball movies. I'll die on that hill. But yeah, that's probably what they're gonna do with Gelof. Like, who is it? Kate is gonna be like, "No, this is my team, and Gelof's playing tonight." And they're gonna be like, "Well, we can't because we traded Gelof for a bucket of baseballs." Ryan Mountcastle, another guy that's just been tearing the cover off the ball. He's currently he's got an on-base streak of 23 games.
Pretty good.
This all followed his bout with vertigo. I don't know how much you had read about that, but
I knew he was out for a minute. I didn't know why.
Yeah, he had vertigo. He was quoted as saying something to the effect of, "It's easier to hit one baseball instead of 3," which
fair.
From what I've read about vertigo, that would make sense. 23 game 23 game on base streak. Since the All-Star break, he's slashing 376, 434, 613 with a weighted runs created plus of 188. He's hitting 407 with an OPS of 1.087 in the month of August. So say what you will, I think his shift into a platoon role likely slighted him a little bit. I think once he got back from his little stint with vertigo, it didn't help. It helped the team, but like I'm sure it didn't help the situation that Ryan O'Hearn came in and he immediately started hitting and making things difficult for him. Yeah, I saw. Hold on, actually, I have an interesting.
Nugget.
Interesting nugget here. I don't quote me on it.
I will.
I'm just going off of the tweet itself. But August 15th, that would have been Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
These numbers aren't updated, obviously, because this was from Tuesday. But shout out Kaz Knows Ball on Twitter. He said Vladimir Guerrero Jr. last 70 games, hitting 244, 10 home runs, 719 OPS. Ryan Mountcastle the last 70 games, 291 average, 9 home runs, and an 808 OPS. Ryan O'Hearn, 291 average, identical to Mountcastle as of Tuesday, 10 home runs, and an 824 OPS. And then he finishes the tweet by saying, safe to say the Orioles have 2 first basemen better than Vlad right now. So,
put some respect on it.
As you said, O'Hearn came in,
started banging right away.
And then Mountcastle figured it out. So that situation at first base is looking quite promising for the O's down this home stretch.
Who DHs for them? I know Santander kind of rotates in a DH pretty often, right?
I think Adley pops in there when he's not catching. That's a good question. Why? Yeah,
sorry,
Santander
Orioles fans. Stop yelling at us.
Yeah, okay, so this one had Adley in it.
Let's go back a couple of days.
Let's see.
Mountcastle.
Speaking of which, talk about a fun series. Like I don't care about where the teams are right now in their respective divisions, but like Orioles Padres, that's just like a
yeah.
That's a fun series. Rutschman DH'd that game. Mountcastle DH'd. Yeah, so
yeah.
I think they've got O'Hearn at first. Yeah, as the lefty, I think O'Hearn is going to get the nod with majority right-handers. Mountcastle DH. So they definitely they have.
But like it looks like every box score I go to, O'Hearn is like the first guy off the bench if there's ever a pinch hit opportunity.
Yeah.
So it's just, I think it's a good problem to have, you know, and then you ride it out for as long as you can. And I'm assuming because of like the vertigo issues, they're probably limiting the amount of time Mountcastle's getting it over at first. So leaving him at DH probably makes more sense. Just more risk, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which, am I wrong by saying it's pretty much like the lasting effects of a concussion most of the time, or like at least like a weird,
I think there's some overlap there.
head injury thing where it may not be a concussion, but you do have vertigo going on.
You're not fully right up there just yet.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good problem to have, dude. Good problem to have. I'm excited to see it in person.
Already making plans. The plans are in the works. A little trip out here. In, I guess, that first week, whether it's for the wild card series or for the division series. I don't see them sliding. I think, can we just say the division's a lock at this point?
We can say it.
Especially with, it's only a 2-game discrepancy between them and the Rays, but like how much of this Wander,
it's got to be a huge distraction.
How much of that's going to bring them down?
I don't know. The Yankees are only 14 back, so you could see something there maybe. So
yeah, no, for sure. Yeah.
That could happen.
Anything can happen. They haven't been ruled out of the division.
Yeah. It's pretty wild to see how a lot of these teams have it's really narrowed down in the AL. It's really started to narrow down.
Hey, speaking of which, did you see the caption to the post I put out today? By chance?
Do I want to see
Actually, since we're AL East right now, I'll just use this as a quick moment to share Pedro Martinez's quote about the Yankees. He says, "When they were going well, it was like watching a bulldog beat up on a chihuahua. Now they look like the chihuahuas." The caption to that post I put out, the latest point of the season that the Yankees have been under 500 since 1995.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, 14 games back, anything's possible. Am I right?
Never know.
Am I right or am I right?
Except we do know, and they suck.
A couple fantasy players to keep your eye on. For most leagues, safe to assume we are well past the trade deadline. So at this point in your season, if you're still in contention, you're probably looking for a couple free agency pickups.
Smart pickups. I bet half the league is given up, by the way, because I haven't checked my app in weeks.
I think like 2 at most, because you were still technically in it like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Fantasy players to keep an eye on. Kerry Carpenter, outfielder / DH for the Tigers, rostered in 17.1% of leagues. He recently saw a plus 15.1% bump, so snag him while you still can if you're interested in an outfielder addition. The last 15 days, he has scored 56 points, has had 4 home runs in his last 5 games, and he is currently sporting a 12-game hit streak. Another name, Graham Ashcraft for the Cincinnati Reds. As a starting pitcher, he has chalked up 84 points in the last 30 days, has not allowed more than 3 runs in a start since June 24th, and over his last 9 outings is sporting an ERA of 2.17.
Let's go, Graham.
And if you need something on top of that, his next outing is versus the Angels, who we all know have sucked since the deadline. So
that's pretty disappointing, isn't it? What an Angel thing to happen.
Yeah, but look, the receipts are fresh. The ink is still drying on the receipts. You and I think both were in the camp of like, you know what? Screw it. Just go for it. I can't walk that back.
They did the right thing.
I can't walk it back. They did the
right thing.
We said it was a flip of the coin. It was a roll of the dice, and
this is one of the first few times that it's not on the front office.
Yeah, I agree. Before we get into our weekend series to watch and kind of wrap up with that, I just had an itch to put out a post on the story, get some questions for some people, because it's been a minute since we took some questions for people. So just want to give them a chance to ask us some questions. So let me pull those up real quick. I didn't get a chance to like write out the full name, so I might just have to go with the usernames. AJ Buck 97 says, how many ballparks have you been to?
All right. Chase Field.
You know, funny enough, Meredith and I were talking about this while we were sitting there at the Nats game last night.
My number's pretty low, unfortunately.
Well, it's kind of related, but I looked over and I was like, I wonder how many Major League Baseball games I've been to in my life. Like, it's never something I've like ever tried to figure out. It's never something I've tried to go back and like count ticket subs from.
Yeah.
But like that'd be an interesting little scavenger hunt to try to figure out. Go back and because like
going back to the early days would make it real tough.
Yeah, that would be tough to figure out. But I'd be interested to know the number. Anyway, the parks you've been to:
Chase Field, Coors Field, Yankee Stadium, Fenway, Camden Yards. I forget what White Sox were called back in the day. It was U.S. Cellular, I think, back in the day.
Yeah, I think there was even one before that, or like right around that time.
It was cool because I got to see Frank Thomas hit his 400th, I think.
Did you really? Wow.
Yeah. I got like a little pin for it. Petco. I'm running pretty dry here. I think that's it, dude. I guess I don't know if it counts, but when the Nationals first opened up, they were at RFK.
No, it counts.
Where the Redskins used to play. So, got that. Oh, Braves. Last year.
Truest.
All right. I think I'm officially done. That's not bad. 9?
No, it's not bad.
9's pretty solid. It's not great. We could afford to do better, but
yeah, I mean, and the list too is like it's kind of fluid because it's throughout the course of your baseball fanhood, it's never just 30 parks at one time. Like there's going to be new parks in your lifetime. There's going to be parks that have torn down in your lifetime.
Yeah.
So like it's a little more than just like how many out of 30 did I get? It's more than that. The number's larger than that.
I'd like for my number to be higher. I'll say that.
All right, so for me, Nats Park, Fenway Park, Camden Yards, Coors Field, Turner Field. I saw Chipper Jones hit a home run there. Check that off my bucket list. The old Busch Stadium.
Ooh.
The old Tiger Stadium.
What? Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
As a kid, I saw they played the Cardinals, I believe. Mark McGuire was there.
Nice.
I said Coors Field.
PNC? Yeah, PNC.
Citizens Bank as of this year. That was cool. Ballpark in Arlington.
Nice.
That was a cool one.
You're at 10 now.
What else?
Did you get the Nats at RFK? Or no?
Oh, yeah. Nats at RFK. That's 11. Oh, Chase Field. I don't think I said Chase Field.
I don't know if you did or not. Maybe you might have. You might have. It's possible.
No, I don't think I did. I haven't been to any out in California.
We got to go to Petco. Oh, I got to go back there. That place is
I need to get there.
So much fun.
For sure. Need to get there. Yeah, that might be it. Hold on. Let me just take one quick look at the teams here. Haven't been to Yankee Stadium. Have not been to the Trop. Oh, I went to Jacobs Field as a kid before it got renamed. Yeah, so I've been there. So that's 13. I've technically been to Comerica. Just it wasn't for a game. I was there working a bowl game for Duke football. And so I just like took a lap around the park and like peeked through the fence and stuff. So like, I don't know if that really counts, but
I don't know if I count it because I was at Fenway years before for that college football game. So I didn't really count it, but it is Fenway.
I would count it. I mean, you did go for the wild card game, so you're counting it either way.
I'm in now. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that might be it.
That's pretty good. 13 solid. 13 solid. I will say it's much easier spending your entire life on the East Coast. It is difficult out here because, like, I only have the Diamondbacks or the Rockies, like, within a decent amount of distance. I'll go to Vegas, though. I'm going to get to a Vegas A's game.
No, don't put that out there. It's going to be Vegas something else. We're done with the A's. It's something new.
You think?
I hope. I mean, Vegas A's does sound pretty sweet, but I think if you're gonna try to just build that culture up from the ground up, you need to scrap all of it. That's just me, though.
Vegas. Yeah, I don't know. You got to get something cool, though. Maybe casino themed. Vegas craps. There you go.
Hey, speaking of relocating, Brian Makes Drinks on Instagram asks, should MLB expand into the Caribbean? Teams in the DR, Puerto Rico, Cancun, etc. I'd be all for it. Logistically, I don't know how that would look, but like, give me a team in like Puerto Rico, man. Like, help revitalize that like facet of baseball in the baseball world, because there's so much just rich history down there, and like getting the attention back on a place like Puerto Rico.
That's fair. I think it would really say something for one of those. I mean, like for Puerto Rico as an example, like the kids being able to grow up and go to major league games and like see like them right there, and it's like I think that it would help the community. Like I like that. I did see a TikTok the other day, by the way, that was like, why do we not say Pirates of the Caribbean, but we say Caribbean every other time? If you're going on vacation, you're not going to the Caribbean. You're going to the Caribbean.
That's a
But
great
if
point.
you say Pirates of the Caribbean, you sound like a psychopath.
You really do.
It's weird.
Did I said Caribbean, right? When I asked
You
the
said
question?
Caribbean when you read
Caribbean?
it. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's a great point.
Yeah.
Josh _shoe13 asks, right now, what is the World Series matchup you want to see? Give me O's, Reds, or Rangers, Phillies. Give me O's, Phillies, man.
That would be so wild.
Give me O's, Phillies. Honestly, at this point, give me the O's versus like throw the like whatever. The Braves, sure. O's, Braves. I mean, talk about star power. Like, give me that. Give me O's, Phillies. Just I want the O's in there.
I feel like I share that a little bit. This is just what we want to see, not what we think is going to happen, correct?
What you want to see.
What I want to see, I would say O's Phillies is a great choice.
Thank you.
It's a great choice. Just to be different, I'm going to say O's Cubs.
All right.
Fair enough.
That's a solid one.
I don't know if the Cubs are going to sneak in or not, but they do. They're right there.
Vibes are high.
They got the last wild card spot. They're tied to 2 other teams, but they got it.
Michael _Herrera 55 asks, who's got a better beard, Kyle or Nate?
You all day. Come on now.
Thank
I can't
you.
grow my cheeks, dog. No cheeks. I only get it on the chin. I did trim up pretty short. Do you like it?
Yeah, you got a mean goatee, right? Is that what we're classifying that as?
I don't know.
I don't know what technically classifies as a goatee. Is what you have a goatee, or does it have to
Can't keep it
stop?
straight.
Does it have to stop here?
Oh, like there's no, yeah. I go stubble on the sides. And
yeah, so like I don't know if that technically
long.
classifies a goatee, if that's just more of a beard.
Yeah. We started shaving when we were in Little League, so. But
That's true.
I don't know. I'm gonna look up some remedies. I've heard that you can get like there's like some essential oils or something you can rub it, and then that little like prickly roller thing. I might try that. See what happens. Why not?
What do you
Fill
got
it
to
in
lose?
a little bit. Yeah, that's true. Bald, can't grow a beard. It's all a mess.
Getting out of here. Weekend series to watch. I know you had a lot going on today. I don't even know if you had a chance to look.
I'll find one.
You could probably find one. For me, weekend series to watch: Mariners versus the Astros. Game 1, you got Bryce Miller versus JP France. Game 2, I'm actually gonna do my best to tune in for this one. Logan Gilbert versus Framber Valdez.
That's a real good one.
That's a doozy. Game 3, you got Emerson Hancock versus Hunter Brown.
Sure. Let's go Emerson. Just because of that name.
Emerson Hancock. As it stands right now, the Mariners are 1 game out of a wild card spot. The Astros are up 3 games with their respective wild card spot. 3 games ahead of the Blue Jays. So yeah, lot at stake here as we head into the second half of August. Hard to believe, man. I don't know where all the time went. I really don't.
Really? Because it's been crawling for me. Baseball wise, it's been crawling.
No, I'm just meaning the year as a whole. Like how are we
sure.
we coming up on September already? I don't get it.
I'm just gonna fire from the hip here, yeah.
I mean, I feel like there was one that you could fire from the hip on, but
straight from the hip. The Yankees just got destroyed by the Braves, so I don't know if I want to pick the Braves right now. And I'm never gonna choose the Brewers for anything. So give me Blue Jays Reds.
I had a feeling you were gonna go with that one.
You like
Apple
that?
Apple TV on Friday.
In
case you want to check it out.
Yeah, which we never love, but it is what it is. Both are hunting, man. Both are doing their thing. And I like that. I'm a big fan of that. Blue Jays, where are you at, Blue Jays? You are currently holding the 3rd wild card spot, the game lead on the Mariners. So this kind of ties into your series too. And then on the other side of things, the Reds, like I mentioned before, are tied with that last wild card spot with the Cubs and the Marlins. And it's crazy, as bad as the Diamondbacks have been. They're only a game and a half back, by the way, in the wild card. The Reds are just, I'm so up and down with them, you know? But it just feels like the Blue Jays are it's coming, right? They're poised to just pop off and go on a heater.
I think so. As much as I hate to admit it,
I'd be scared of that team in the postseason. Like, even if they just sneak in, I would be a little scared. They got a lot of firepower.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't feel like looking up the pitchers, so just tune in. Be surprised, like me.
There you go. Actually, no, you know what? For the sake of thoroughness, game 1, you got Jose Barrios versus Undecided, according to ESPN.
Solid.
Game 2, you got Chris Bassett versus Brandon Williamson. And then game 3, you've got Ryu versus Green. And then is this a 4-gamer?
No. Ryu has looked... No, not Ryu. Kikuchi. That's what I'm thinking of. Kikuchi has been nails lately.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Sure has. Closing the book here. Just a few items and we'll get out of here. Not sure if you saw Reed Detmers took a no-hitter into the 8th inning versus the Rangers.
Saw that. Marcus Semien spoiled that, yeah?
Sure did. And, you know, like if you're going to spoil a no-hitter, do it in a 1-0 game and put yourself in scoring position.
Immediately
I'm all for that.
Hustle double. Like Marcus Semien is just
like that's just good baseball. Like if you're, like I said, if you're going to break up a no-hitter, do it that way.
Yeah.
Cubs walk off the White Sox. We already mentioned that. Wrigley went nuts.
Christopher Morel, just like had nothing left on, man. Guy stripped everything off.
Did you see the aerial shot of Wrigley? Place was popping off. It was insane.
Oh man, vibes are going high in Chicago right now.
And then Fernando Tatis stole home versus the Orioles. Didn't even get a throw home.
Different.
I'm
a huge fan of like electric base running being so much more a part of the game now.
Yep.
And yeah, despite how you feel about Tatis, he does make things better on the field. Just does stuff you're not supposed to see.
Correct.
Me gusta.
That's all I got. You got anything else?
Negative. I got nothing. I'm all out. Let's have a good weekend, folks.
Have a great weekend.
Yeah. You got anything going this weekend? Anything special?
Yeah, we got family coming in.
Oh, that's right. You said that.
Meredith's grandmother's 80th birthday.
Oh boy.
So it's gonna be a big party. So
all right.
That'll be fun.
Do we know the type of cake? Do we have any idea on that yet?
I don't. But rest assured, I will be consuming it unless it's carrot cake.
I'll put a vote in there. I think you should strongly suggest ice cream cake. It's warm out there. I think a refreshing ice cream cake could do the trick.
Closing thought here. Dairy Queen ice cream cakes, like I'm not here to slander Dairy Queen because Blizzards are elite.
Oh no.
But their ice cream cakes are like $600.
Yeah, because no one else can do it like them.
It's like you don't need to charge that much for an ice cream cake. It's a cake. It's ice cream, which you already have there. And it's a cake. Why are you charging me an arm and a leg for this cake? It's going to be gone by the end of the evening. Like I don't even really get to enjoy it, especially if you have to share it with a bunch of other people. How much of that $6,000 ice cream cake am I really going to be able to enjoy myself? Not very much. So maybe let's evaluate and readjust Dairy Queen, please.
I think they should maybe consider throwing like a single serve ice cream cake as an option. Whether you cut me a slice or you put it in one of the Blizzard cups and let me do my thing there. Imagine that.
I mean, if I'm going for a treat myself, I'll gladly take the Blizzard and be on my merry way. That's just me, though.
We went there the other day. I got a puppy chow Blizzard.
I had that.
Slaps.
I had that. That is
wild
strong.
that the Chex was still crunchy. I was not expecting that.
They do it. They
Excellent
do it right.
one. Yeah. Fantastic. Cool. Well, I'm going to go get some ice cream now. Love it. Don't go chasing curveballs.
We love y'all, and as always, looking forward to talking more baseball with you guys soon. Until next time, stay filthy.